celebrating 30 years of great music.
Good evening. In the news tonight, hundreds of people remain in the dark tonight as a result of Sunday's storms. And Tom DeLay says he's dropping his re-election bid.
In sports, the University of Florida is celebrating its national championship in basketball, and Ball State names a new hoops coach.
Newscenter 22 is next. Efforts continue this evening to restore power to hundreds of households and businesses in southwest Indiana that have been in the dark since severe storms passed through the state Sunday night. Duke Energy says that about 600 of its customers in its Indiana service area were without power as of 3 Central Time this afternoon. 61 customers in Knox County were still without power at 3 o'clock. 22 customers in Gibson County, 3 in Martin County, 11 in Pike, and 4 in Sullivan were also without power. Although electricity will be restored at different times, Duke says most customers should have power restored by 11 o'clock tonight. Meanwhile, nearly 500 homes and businesses in Indiana were damaged or destroyed by Sunday's storms. A high-rise office building in downtown Indianapolis remained closed today after high winds blew out windows on several floors. At least 5 Indiana counties have declared local disaster areas. 24 tornado fatalities in Tennessee is just a number, according to a congressman from the area, who says when you see the damage, it really puts a face to it. Congressman John Tanner, who accompanied the state's governor on a tour of the damage today, says a cousin of his is among the dead after a tornado destroyed her home Sunday. Brianna Keeler is in Dyer County, Tennessee, the hardest hit area with the latest.
The day after a tornado ripped through Dyersburg, Tennessee, some residents recounted their tales of survival.
We made our way outside with both of our girls, and it was like something you see on a movie. It was dark outside, and everyone was hollering to the neighbors, and are you okay? And people were hollering to help get the people out of the house.
This woman's house was reduced to rubble with her in it.
Then Ben, my son-in-law, yelled, and then I heard my daughter yell, "Mom," and that was the sweetest sound I've ever heard in my life.
But not everyone could tell such a happy story. Family members of the 15 Dyer County residents killed in the tornado came to Dyersburg Regional Medical Center to identify their loved ones. The National Weather Service said the tornado that carved an 18-mile-long path through Dyer County was an F3 with estimated winds of 200 miles per hour.
It was just, and you could hear it. It was just like a, you can't describe it.
About half a dozen twisters hit Marmaduke, Arkansas. Police officials there say about 90% of the town is destroyed. Taking a look now at some of the damage in Dyer County, we're at a church that was destroyed. The tornado actually picked up and moved this slab of concrete, but some delicate items survived very well. This hymnal and also these breakable vases and figurines. And as we look down the street here, 200, 300 yards, we can tell you the houses are completely intact. In Millsfield, Tennessee, I'm Brianna Keeler.
A Vincennes man will spend time on electronic home monitoring and formal probation for possession of methamphetamine. 24-year-old David Thompson was sentenced Monday in Knox County Circuit Court after pleading guilty to the charge as part of a plea agreement. Judge Sherry Bittinger-Gregg sentenced Thompson to 18 months in prison, then suspended the sentence to 1 year electronic home monitoring and 6 months formal probation. A former resident of Huntingburg, Indiana, has been sentenced to 27 months in prison for illegally entering the United States after deportation. 36-year-old Pedro Zenon Lopez was sentenced Monday in U.S. District Court. Lopez is a citizen of the country of El Salvador, who had been deported from the United States on 2 previous occasions. He was arrested in Dubois County in January of 2005. Lopez was first deported from the United States in December of 1994 after he had been convicted of distribution of illegal drugs in Prince George's County, Maryland. Lopez's second deportation occurred in May of 2001 after he was found in DuBois County. Lopez was ordered to submit to deportation proceedings upon completion of his sentence. A former Taylor University student will serve 7.5 years in prison for setting a fire in his dormitory. Jimmy Traxler was a Taylor University student and part-time campus security guard at the school's Fort Wayne campus when he was arrested for lighting a fire in Schultz Residence Hall in October. He was convicted of arson and false reporting. An Edwardsport couple remained hospitalized today following a head-on collision on State Road 67 near Bruceville Sunday morning. As of 3 o'clock this afternoon, Robert Shooter remained in serious condition, while his wife, Karen, was in fair condition at Good Samaritan Hospital in Vincennes. Two Vincennes University students, Aaron Scott Hayes of Oaktown and Nathan Lee Miller of Bicknell, were killed in the crash. The Knox County Sheriff's Department says witnesses to the accident said Hayes' truck went left of center and hit the Shooter vehicle head-on. The search continues on the Ohio River at Henderson, Kentucky, where 4 men are missing after a van plunged off a ramp Sunday, drowning 2 Evansville women. Another Evansville woman survived. Henderson police say the 4 missing men are all Henderson residents. The Indiana Department of Transportation says that due to inclement weather, the reopening of the ramp from northbound US 41 to Willow Street in Vincennes has been delayed. The ramp was to have reopened today. NDOT says the ramp should be reopened to traffic by Friday. A new law has created a fund to help military families struggling with living expenses, but the grants won't be available until at least January, and veterans will foot much of the bill. The state's new Military Family Relief Fund is for families with members deployed in the Indiana National Guard or reserves. The program is funded in part by veterans. The state's Hoosier Veteran license plate for veterans is currently free aside from local taxes. But starting this July, it will cost veterans an extra $15 for the plate, with the extra money going into the fund. Another license plate, called a Support Our Troops plate, will be available to anyone to purchase. They will generate $20 each for the Military Family Fund. Still to come on Newscenter 22, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay says he's leaving Congress, and demonstrators against a new jobs law are clashing with police and each other in downtown Paris. Stay with us.
Nova. A lone explorer penetrates Saturn's mysterious rings and touches down on a moon called Titan.
The first thing you see is these river valleys everywhere. Wow, we're looking at an Earth-like world.
Could it hold clues to how life began?
It's like being allowed a glimpse of the miraculous.
Voyage to the Mystery Moon on Nova.
Already under scrutiny and under indictment, now former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay is walking away from political life. Miles O'Brien reports.
Tom DeLay knows how to count votes, and as he surveyed his own prospects, he saw some numbers he didn't like. Despite a convincing primary win last month, a recent poll gave him a 50-50 chance of winning a 12th term to Congress in Sugar Land, Texas, which should be sweet and certain turf for the GOP. So the man known as the Hammer made the kind of hard-nosed political call that marked his tenure as majority leader. He bowed out to clear the field for another conservative.
Because I care so deeply about this district and the people in it, I refuse to allow liberal Democrats an opportunity to steal this seat with a negative personal campaign.
On charges he misdirected campaign contributions through a political action committee. But there was more. He ran afoul of the House Ethics Committee 3 times and faced questions about his ties to former lobbyist Jack Abramoff, just sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison for bribing members of Congress. DeLay has never wavered, always insisting he did nothing illegal or unethical.
In the 21 years that I have been in Congress, I have always acted in an ethical manner within the rules of the House and the laws of our land. And time, once again, will bear out that truth.
A successful pest control entrepreneur, Tom DeLay was first elected to Congress in 1984. He steadily rose through the ranks and became Majority Whip in 1994, Majority Leader in 2002. DeLay has always reveled in his role as a fierce partisan. A darling of conservatives, he was despised by liberals for his brass-knuckles style. DeLay remained a political realist even as he assessed his own lot. And with scandals swirling around him, it is clear he worried the numbers were not adding up. Miles O'Brien, CNN, New York.
President Bush says it had to have been a very difficult decision for Tom DeLay. Bush says DeLay called him yesterday to say he wouldn't continue his House campaign and would leave Congress altogether.
I had a talk last night on my way back from the ball game with Congressman DeLay. He informed me of his decision. My reaction was it had to have been a very difficult decision for someone who loved representing his district in the state of Texas. I wished him all the very best, and I know he's looking forward. He's looking to the future. My own judgment is that our party will continue to succeed because we're the party of ideas.
The head of the Democratic National Committee says the Republican culture of corruption, as he describes it, is unfortunately very much alive. Howard Dean says Tom DeLay's resignation from Congress won't solve the GOP's problems. There is a huge gap between the Senate and the House on how to tackle our illegal immigration crisis. If the Senate does pass an immigration reform bill, there could be another major political confrontation on this issue in a joint House-Senate conference committee. Lisa Sylvester reports.
The House bill that passed last year makes illegal presence in the United States a felony and requires employers verify legal status of all workers. By contrast, the Senate is debating a bill that would legalize the 12 million plus illegal aliens in the United States and sets up a guest worker program to bring in even more workers. The House bill and final Senate version eventually will have to be reconciled in conference committee and signed off by the legislative bodies. But the gap is so large, many are now questioning if there will be consensus.
There certainly are House Republicans that are saying there's absolutely no way that a Senate version, which includes issues like a guest worker provision, would be able to pass in the House.
Finding common ground is difficult because of a time crunch. The Senate has only this week to act before it goes on recess for another 2 weeks. It becomes trickier getting an immigration reform bill the closer to the midterm elections. That has some worried Congress will deadlock.
As you know, the national policy as it relates to illegal immigration for the last 20 or 30 years has been one of benign neglect. We can no longer continue that as a national policy. The worst thing that could happen would be for no bill at all to pass.
One option supported by both Democrats and Republicans is to pass only a border security bill and leave the more contentious debate of what to do with the illegal aliens in the United States for after the elections.
President Bush was asked last week in Cancun if he would veto a border security only bill that did not contain a guest worker program, and he did not answer the question. Lisa Sylvester, CNN, Washington.
A car bomb has exploded in eastern Baghdad, killing at least 10 people and wounding about 30. Police say the bomb went off in a large lot where Iraqis go to sell used cars. It's in a poor, mostly Shiite area. The blast damaged several cars and a nearby sandwich stand. Iraqi authorities say at least 10 people died after a car bomb exploded near a Shiite Muslim mosque in Baghdad on Monday, and at least 41 others were wounded. The full extent of the damage was revealed today. A witness said a man in a car stopped beside the building, waited until a speaker inside said, "God is great," then detonated the bomb. At a nearby hospital, survivors, which included children, lay on blood-stained beds waiting for treatment. Iran is engaging in some high-profile war games, testing and touting weapons. But is the nation simply showing its military might, or rather showing off? David Enzor reports.
The most recent tests were of 2 new types of high-speed torpedoes, capable, Iran said, of going over 200 miles an hour underwater to hit a submarine at any depth and to break a surface warship in 2. Tests came as part of a large Iranian naval exercise in the Gulf dubbed the Great Prophet. Pentagon spokesman Brian Whitman in a statement said, quote, "It is not surprising that they have tested this weapon." He said the Iranians have been known to boast and exaggerate their statements about greater technical and tactical capabilities. Just last week, Iran tested a new land-based missile, the Fajr-3, which it claims can carry several warheads and can evade enemy radar systems. Iran already has a mid-range missile, the Shahab-3, with a range of more than 1,000 miles. The tests come as Iran's leaders face a call by the United Nations Security Council for Tehran to give up plans to enrich uranium. Many fear Iran may be trying to develop an Iranian nuclear weapon.
I think the largest message was political to the U.S., political to our allies in the Gulf, and to the Chinese and the Russians and the Indians. Look, Security Council action, if it escalates, has the potential of escalating into a military conflict, and don't expect Iran to be like Iraq.
State Department and other officials say the new weapons are not as powerful as the Iranians would have the world believe, but they are advances on the existing Iranian arsenal.
The main point here, though, U.S. officials say, is to try to convince Americans and others that military action against Iran's nuclear programs would simply carry too high a cost. David Ensor, CNN, Washington.
Delta pilots say they're ready to walk off the job. They overwhelmingly voted today to authorize a strike. The pilots aren't happy with management's effort to throw out their contract, which would allow the bankrupt carrier to impose deep pay cuts. Union leaders aren't giving any indication when the pilots might actually strike. It's getting ugly in downtown Paris, where demonstrators have been throwing stones, tearing down street signs, and even attacking each other. It's part of the latest nationwide strike and protest in opposition to a new law making it easier to fire younger workers. The strike has again shut down the Eiffel Tower and snarled air and rail travel. A new study says consumers would benefit from information on tire fuel efficiency. The Transportation Research Board says drivers could buy the most efficient brands if they had information about how tires affect fuel efficiency in cars and light trucks. The board wants Congress to authorize the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to collect the tire efficiency data and provide it to the public. The board estimates 200 million replacement tires are in use in the U.S., with consumers spending about $20 billion each year on new tires. The report says the rolling resistance of a tire affects a fuel economy. It also says resistance varies between brands depending on size, weight, tread, and other factors. If you like your Splenda, listen up. A consumer group claims the sweetener may have some side effects that could include stomach pain. The group, Citizens for Health, is asking the FDA to pull Splenda off the market until it does more research. But the manufacturer of Splenda says there's no evidence it causes any side effects. Still to come on Newscenter 22, Amy Reef has this evening's weather.
There is a place deep in the heart of the Pacific. A place where adventure is born. Jean-Michel Cousteau's Ocean Adventures.
Well, Amy, the cleanup continues from this weekend's severe storms. Can they expect any delays from the weather?
Well, for now, the sun's going to continue to shine even into tomorrow, but some more rain is on its way. Good evening, everyone. As we take a look outside, we currently have sunny skies, 55 degrees. Wind is out of the west-northwest at 18 miles per hour. The humidity is at 34%, and the barometric pressure is at 30.05 and rising. Now let's take a look at some area temperatures. Evansville, Indiana, sunny, 57 degrees. Washington and Princeton, also sunny, respectively at 58 and 56 degrees. And over in Illinois, sunny skies as Albany is at 57. Now let's take a look at our national temperature map. Winter weather continues to persevere across much of the country, some parts of the country actually. There's a low pressure system moving its way in on the west coast responsible for their cooler conditions. Bend, Oregon, currently at 44 degrees. Now, quite a different story for the midsection of our country. Spring-like conditions, temperatures in the 60s, 70s, and even 80s. We have San Antonio, Texas at 83 degrees. And out on the East Coast, some more winter weather, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. Lincoln, Maine, currently at 34 degrees. Now, as we take a look at our surface map, you can see the low pressure system responsible for the winter weather in the northwest. This system is going to continue bringing in cooler temperatures and gusty winds and some less than favorable conditions with snowfall anywhere from 4 to 8 inches as the day progresses. Behind that, in the Midwest, things starting to calm down a little with sunny skies and favorable conditions as they start to clean up after the tornadoes that swept their way through the country. Same story in the south. High pressure system allowing them to dry out with sunny skies and warmer temperatures. Now the big story is out west as this Pacific low pressure system continues to push its way inland, causing excessive amounts of rain throughout the western coast. We have some winter snowfall up in the northern part around Washington and some flood advisories in Southern California where they actually received about 5 inches of rain throughout the day. This system is going to continue pushing its way east, making its way to the Wabash Valley sometime tomorrow evening. Now let's take a look at your forecast. For tonight, clear with a low of 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 66. And tomorrow night, showers with a low of 48. Your extended forecast Thursday, thunderstorms with a high of 66 and a low of 60. Thunderstorms on Friday as well with a high of 70 and a low of 41. And storms on Saturday with a high of 52 and a low of 35. And Kurt, that's a look at your weather.
Thanks, Amy. Still to come, our Newscenter 22, Kristen Miller will have highlights from last night's NCAA Men's National Championship game, and Ball State University has named a new men's hoops coach. Stay with us.
Ripley is a robot that's scrupulously polite as it tries to understand what you want. Let go of it. Sorry. Leonardo turns on the charm as he learns to become an active partner. While Robonaut figures one day to be a fully fledged member of an astronaut team, helping with construction tasks in space. I'm Alan Alda. Join me next time for Robot Pals.
Gators win first title. Good evening, everyone. For TV 22 Sports, I'm Kristen Miller. The University of Florida is not just crazy for football any longer. Gator fans are celebrating their team's first NCAA men's basketball title after Florida dominated UCLA 73-57 last night. The Gators made it look easy while beating the school with the most NCAA basketball titles in history. Florida's defense frustrated UCLA and prevented the Bruins from winning their 12th title. Joakim Noah led the Gators with 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 blocks. The Gators committed a season-low 6 turnovers on offense while hounding the Bruins and leading all the way. Jordan Farmer led the Bruins with 18. The win makes 40-year-old Florida coach Billy Donovan the second youngest coach to pocket an NCAA basketball title behind Bobby Knight, who won a championship at 35. It's an all-Atlantic Coast Conference affair in tonight's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Duke takes on Maryland as the teams meet for the 4th time this season. Duke won 2 regular season games, but Maryland turned the tables on the Blue Devils in the ACC tournament. John Wooden, who coached UCLA to 10 national basketball championships, has been hospitalized, but is expected to be released in a day or 2. UCLA's Sports Information Office says the 95-year-old Hall of Famer was admitted to a Los Angeles area hospital Sunday. His condition's not serious. Wooden is the first person inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame as both a player and a coach. He starred for Purdue in 1930s. Ball State has introduced Ronnie Thompson as its new head basketball coach today. The son of former Georgetown coach John Thompson spent the last 3 years as an Arkansas assistant under Stan Heath. He replaces Tim Buckley, who was fired last month after a 10-18 season. Point guard Rajon Rondo has played his last basketball game as a Kentucky Wildcat. Rondo said today that he's hiring an agent with hopes of becoming a high pick in the NBA draft. The move to get an agent means Rondo won't be eligible to play college basketball again. Rondo led the Wildcats this season in virtually every statistical category: points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Vincent University volleyball player Kayla Holloway received 3 honors at the Lady Blazers annual awards banquet Sunday night. Holloway was tabbed as an NJCAA first-team All-American, All-Region player, and received her team's Most Valuable Offensive Player award. Holloway played in 171 games and led the team with 665 attack kills. Freshman Trista Wood was named a second-team All-Star and the team's Most Valuable Defensive Player. The Vincennes University men's golf team finished 7th among 8 teams at the Anderson University Invitational Sunday and Monday. Sophomore Jared Rood of Seymour led VU with a score of 160. His 4-over-76 Monday was the second low round of the day. The Trailblazers will play at Cincinnati State April 21st. At the ballparks, St. Louis turned on the power in a 13-5 rout that had a silver lining for Philadelphia. While the Cardinals' Albert Pujols homered twice, the teammate Scott Rowland hit a grand slam in a 17-hit effort. It was the 8th inning double by the Phillies' Jimmy Rollins that kept the Major's longest hitting streak alive. Rollins has now hit safely in 37 straight games. Chris Carpenter got the win for the Redbirds. The Chicago Cubs enjoyed their 4th straight opening day victory yesterday, 16-7, over a Cincinnati Reds team that couldn't stop the Cubs' run of first-game success. Matt Merton homered in a 5-run first inning, and Todd Walker singled home a pair of runs in a crushing 7-run 6th inning. President Bush threw out the ceremonial first pitch. It's the first time a current president has thrown an opening pitch in Cincinnati. Will Oman picked up the win in relief. The state of Minnesota has closed its book on former Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper. A Hennepin County judge has dismissed misdemeanor charges against Culpepper stemming from last fall's boat party sex scandal, ruling there wasn't probable cause to determine a crime that was committed by him. Culpepper was one of 4 players accused of misdemeanor lewd conduct during the cruise on a suburban lake last fall. Culpepper has since been traded to the Miami Dolphins. Steve McNair's days in a Tennessee Titan uniform appear to be over. The veteran quarterback was told to go home yesterday when he showed up at the team's headquarters for the start of the 3rd week in the Titans' off-season conditioning program. McNair is due $9 million in salary in 2006, but his salary cap number is over $23.4 million. The Titans may not want to risk the liability if McNair is hurt on their property. Jeff Simmons will replace driver Paul Dana on Bobby Rahal's IRL team beginning April 22nd in Japan. Dana was killed in a crash during a warm-up before the season-opening race at Homestead Miami Speedway on March 26th. Simmons tied an Indy Pro Series record with 7 victories in 4 years on the circuit. And Kurt, that's a look at sports.
Thanks, Kristen. Still to come on Newscenter 22, Katie Couric's days at NBC's Today Show may be numbered. Stay with us. Tune in to WVUT this Tuesday night. At 7, Nova chronicles of the cooperative effort by NASA and the European Space Agency to send 2 probes to study Saturn and its moon Titan. At 8, the meth epidemic is a revealing look at methamphetamine abuse that focuses on Portland, Oregon, where use has hit crisis proportions. Stay tuned for Independent Lens at 9, Tuesday night on WVUT. If Katie Couric leaves the Today Show, colleague Ann Curry says she'll be the first to cry. She tells Access Hollywood that Couric will be very hard to replace. Published reports today say Couric is about to leave NBC to take the anchor job at the CBS Evening News. And that's all for this evening. For Amy Reef and Kristen Miller, I'm Kurt Maddox. Good night.